If you've seen headlines claiming that Congress is about to strip naturalized citizens of their citizenship, I understand why you might be feeling anxious right now. Your citizenship once earned feels like your most precious legal protection in this country. Depression legal protection in this country. The idea that it could somehow be taken away creates real worry, especially if you've worked incredibly hard to get here, studied for the civics test, waited years for this moment, and finally took that oath. But here's what I want you to know before we dive deeper. Understanding what's actually happening in Congress versus what's circulating on social media will give you clarity and real peace of mind. That's exactly what we're going to do in this video. So, I'm going to break down this bill, explain where it actually stands legally, tell you what it could and couldn't do even if it passed, and most importantly, help you understand what your citizenship actually means under current U.S. law right now. By the end of this video, you're going to have facts, not fear. So let's start by being very clear about what we're looking at. The Fraud Accountability Act is a piece of proposed legislation that has been introduced in Congress. I want to emphasize that word proposed. A bill being introduced is the very first step in a very long legislative process. Thousands of bills are introduced in Congress every single year. The vast majority of them never become law. They don't get votes, they don't make it out of committee. Foods, they don't make it out of committee. They simply expire when that session of Congress ends. So when you see a headline about a new congressional bill, it's important to understand that you're looking at a proposal, not a policy change, and certainly not a law that has taken effect. I'm perfect. Now let me explain what this particular bill is designed to do. Because understanding that is crucial. The Fraud Accountability Act as proposed would expand the grounds for denaturalization in the United States. So the denaturalization is the legal process by which someone who has become a naturalized U.S. citizen could potentially lose that citizenship status. This is an incredibly important distinction, and it's where a lot of confusion comes in on social media. Social media, there is actually a long-standing legal process in the United States that already allows for denaturalization. Under certain circumstances, this is not new. What the proposed bill would do is expand those circumstances, but let me be absolutely clear. Current U.S. law already has mechanisms for removing citizenship from people who obtained it fraudulently. This is not a blank slate. This is an expansion of something that already exists. Under existing denaturalization law, citizenship can be revoked if someone obtained their citizenship through fraud or concealment of a material fact. That's already on the books. That's been federal law for decades. What does that mean in practical terms? If someone lied on their naturalization application, if they concealed a criminal conviction, if they fraudulently obtained documents, if they misrepresented their residency period or their moral character, there are already legal mechanisms to address that. This is not new territory. An RPN stop. This is not new territory. Immigration attorneys are familiar with these concepts. The courts have years of case law around denaturalization. The existing framework is well established. What the Fraud Accountability Act, as it's been proposed, would potentially do is broaden what counts as fraud or concealment that could lead to denaturalization. This is where the legislative debate comes in. Some supporters of the bill argue that the current standards are too narrow, that there are cases of immigration fraud that slip through because they don't quite meet the current definition of fraud or material concealment. If you are a naturalized U.S. citizen, you should have a copy of your naturalization certificate. Keep it in a safe place, possibly in a safe deposit box or fireproof safe at home. This is your proof of citizenship. Meet your proof of citizenship. You should also be aware that you have the right to consult with an immigration attorney at any time. If the government ever contacts you about your naturalization status, you should exercise your right to legal representation. You do not have to answer questions without an attorney present. This is true, whether you believe there are issues with your case or not. It's simply good legal practice. If you are a green card holder considering naturalization, you should understand that naturalization is a significant step that provides you with tremendous legal protection and stability. It's worth the time and effort to go through the process carefully. And honestly, if you have questions about your eligibility, your background, anything that might come up during the naturalization process, talk to an immigration attorney beforehand, IV beforehand. Don't wait until after you've submitted your application. Prevention is always better than dealing with issues after the fact. For people who are not yet green card holders, understand that the pathway to citizenship exists. It's a process that takes time. It requires meeting certain requirements, But millions of people have successfully gone through it, and millions more will. The fact that there's a proposed bill to expand denaturalization grounds doesn't change what the pathway looks like today, or what the requirements are today. In hoc warfuck, the requirements are today. You should be aware of current law, not hypothetical future law. Let me also say this about misinformation, because it's rampant right now. When you see a headline that says, Congress is stripping citizenship from naturalized Americans, that's not accurate. That's not what a proposed bill means. A proposed bill is a proposal. It has not happened. It may never happen. If you see posts on social media that are presenting this bill as if it's already law, as if it's already being enforced, or as if you need to take some emergency action right now, those posts are creating unnecessary panic. They're not based on the actual legal landscape. Be skeptical of those posts. Check multiple sources, look for official government information, talk to immigration attorneys. If you have specific concerns about your own case, the official sources for current immigration law are the USCIS website, the Department of Justice Immigration Court website, and legal immigration attorneys who are licensed to practice in your state. These are the places to go for accurate information about what the law actually is right now, not social media, not viral videos, not rumors from friends or family members who heard something from someone else. Official sources and legal professionals. I also want to emphasize that anything I've said in this video is general information about us. Immigration law. Ha ha ha. It is not legal advice about your specific situation. Your situation is unique to you. Your background is unique. Your application is unique. Your status is unique. Status is unique. If you have concerns about your particular case, you need to talk to an immigration attorney who can review your actual circumstances and give you advice that's tailored to you. Every situation is different. What applies to one person might not apply to another. That's why consulting with a professional is so important. Let me circle back to the core question that's probably driving your anxiety right now. Can the government take away my citizenship? The answer under current law is only through a legitimate federal court proceeding. If you obtain that citizenship through fraud or concealment of a material fact, and even then, the court has to be convinced by clear and convincing evidence. That's the law today. That's the law today. If it changes, it will change through a process that takes time, involves debate and public discussion, and includes checks and balances. It won't happen overnight. And even if it changes, constitutional protections still exist. You would still have the right to a hearing in. Q would still have the right to a hearing. You would still have the right to legal representation. You would still have the right to present your case in court. Those rights are fundamental to our legal system. Citizenship matters. I understand why this bill is causing concern. It represents permanence, belonging. It represents permanence. It represents the culmination of a long journey and a lot of hard work. It's not just a legal status. It's meaningful on a human level. So it makes sense that the idea of losing it would trigger anxiety. But let's separate the real from the speculative. The real from the speculative. The real is there's a proposed bill. The speculative is what will happen if it passes. What will it do? How will it be enforced? And whether it will change anything in practice. We don't know the speculative yet. What we know is the real. You have rights today. The law today protects you. If you obtained your citizenship. Honestly, keep doing what you're doing. Stay informed from reliable sources. Consult with a qualified immigration attorney if you have specific concerns, and don't let social media create a false sense of emergency about something that hasn't happened yet. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Immigration policy will continue to be debated in Congress. Bills will be proposed, some will pass, some won't, some will be challenged in court. The fundamental rights you have as a U.S. citizen, whether you were born here or naturalized, are protected by the Constitution. That's not something that changes based on proposed legislation. It's the foundation of our legal system. If you found this explanation helpful, and you want to stay informed about what's actually happening in immigration law, not what's being sensationalized on social media, please subscribe to U.S. Immigration Update. Tiasana, we break down proposed legislation. We separate facts from rumors, and we help you understand what immigration law actually is right now, not what people are afraid it might become. Share this video with people in your life who've been seeing these headlines and feeling anxious, feeling anxious. Share accurate information. That's how we combat misinformation. And please leave a comment below with your questions about this bill or any other immigration topics you want us to cover. What are you hearing? What concerns do you have? What do you want us to explain? What do you want us to explain? Your comments drive the content we create, and they help us make sure we're addressing the things that matter most to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.